All right, listen, anytime you can trade your best defensive player in the hopes of trying to eventually draft a good defensive player, you got to do it. Raiders traded Maxx Crosby to the Ravens last night. Vegas getting 2 first-round draft picks in that deal. The timeline for Maxx Crosby is a wild one. A lot can happen in a year. Life was lifing. A 3-year, $106.5 million extension with the Raiders 1 year and 1 day ago. But that relationship began to sour when Vegas placed him on IR late in the season. He wanted to play through a knee issue. The Raiders shut him down. A lot of people speculated it was so they could tank and go ahead and take the first overall draft pick, which they got. But now Crosby is heading to Baltimore. Jeremy Fowler with us in studio. He knew all of that off the top of his head.
Correct.
How did this deal? This deal that, I don't know, we heard about it at the 9 p.m. Eastern hour last night. How did this deal come together?
Raiders GM John Spytek leveraged the Ravens and the Cowboys. The Cowboys really wanted to make this deal happen. They had a first and a second round pick ready to go, including the 12th overall pick this year. But they had their limits. Dallas told me, like, we just couldn't go far enough when we already gave up a first and a second for Quinnen Williams back in the fall. And so the Raiders just said, look, 2 1s is better than whatever package you have. Dallas even tried to get some veteran players involved to sweeten the deal. Vegas said, we want picks, we want to get younger, we want to get better in a hurry. So Baltimore had the bird in hand in the afternoon, waited it out, got it done in the end. There were some other teams on the periphery, but it was really Baltimore and Dallas leveraged against each other. And how are we feeling now, Randy?
We're not feeling great. We've seen rebuilds before. It's just, you know, it's like parades at a theme park, right? You miss one, you wait a couple hours, you'll get the next one.
I love the Baltimore Ravens trade for Maxx Crosby. I love going all in with a new head coach. I love trying to get to the Super Bowl for the first time with Lamar Jackson. 2 first-round picks is a lot. F them picks. You got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Push your chips all into the middle of the table. This is a great deal for the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens will win the AFC North this season. As for the Las Vegas Raiders, a no-brainer. You've lost a lot with Maxx Crosby. No reason to keep him around for a rebuild. 2 first-round picks. Now you pick 1st and 14th. Gonna take Fernando Mendoza. You've got your quarterback. And now you have a lot more picks to work with. A home run trade for the Las Vegas Raiders. And as for the teams that didn't get Maxx Crosby, most notably the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills, now it's time to go out and try and sign Trey Hendrickson. One of those teams needs to sign Trey Hendrickson coming up next week. Ravens fans, are you happy? You should be. Raiders fans, are you happy? You should be. Cowboys fans, Bills fans, are you happy? Let me know your thoughts.
News from the NFL overnight. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. The Maxx Crosby era is done in Las Vegas. The all-everything defensive end is heading to Baltimore. Raiders and Ravens making it a blockbuster night. Vegas sending their best defensive player east in exchange for 2 first-round picks this year and next. Maxx Crosby has been among the most dominant defensive players in football. Since he entered the league in 2019, he leads all defensive players in tackles for loss and quarterback pressures while ranking 6th in sacks. He's going to join a Ravens defense tied for the 3rd fewest sacks in the NFL in 2025. Former Raider, our analyst, Louis Riddick, now with his thoughts on the deal.
For the Baltimore Ravens and general manager Eric DeCosta, this is just the kind of acquisition that they needed to kind of reset this Baltimore franchise, now being run by Jesse Minter, the head coach, and Anthony Weaver, particularly the defensive coordinator. They needed someone like Maxx Crosby. They didn't have an impact player on the defensive side of the football at the edge rush position that you can really win with, the kind of guy who can really affect the second and third levels of the defense in terms of making the ball come out faster, helping out the secondary. They don't have to cover as long. And then additionally, a guy who can really set the tone in the locker room and really be the kind of guy who is the pulse of the organization. That's what Maxx Crosby has been his entire career. That's what he's going to be counted on to do now that they paid the price of 2 1s in Baltimore. For the Las Vegas Raiders, what it is now for this football team and general manager John Spytek is really taking these draft picks that they've gotten, the number 1 overall pick this year, the number 14 pick this year, we don't know what that number 1 will be in 2027, and turn it into franchise-altering selections. They cannot miss with these picks. These picks are too valuable now. And who knows what they'll do with them. They may trade these picks in order to get more picks, but they needed the ammunition to be able to build this football team. Now they're on the clock, and we'll see what they can do.
After acquiring the number 14 overall pick from Baltimore, the Raiders now hold number 1 and number 14 in this year's draft. They're the 5th team to have 2 first-round picks in next month's draft. The Jets, Browns, Chiefs, and Cowboys also have 2 firsts. The Rams had 2, but they used 1 to trade for Trent McDuffie on Wednesday. As is the case often when you are the only Raider fan in the room, you get a lot of eyeballs, a lot of how you holding up, as was the case this morning here at work.
They're rebuilding.
And yeah. I mean, they're no stranger to rebuilding, and they're no stranger to having high-pressure draft picks. What they are a stranger to, unfortunately, at least in my lifetime, is getting those draft picks right. And when they do, Maxx Crosby, Khalil Mack, they trade them away when they're in their 20s. So it is a frustrating cycle, I think, for Raider fans. But at the same time, Maxx Crosby's played in one playoff game. It's not his fault. Played in one playoff game in a Raider uniform, and he deserves a chance to go ahead and make a run.
Crosby, T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett,
all in the same division.
Well, Raider Nation, it happened. Maxx Crosby is being traded to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a pair of first-round picks. Obviously, this is a tough one. Max is Mr. Raider. He's that dude. I want to know, are you more fired up about the return or more bummed out about the fact that Maxx Crosby is indeed being traded? And now that the Raiders do have the 14th overall pick, that's the pick they're getting from the Ravens this year, that first-round pick. I want to know what you want to see him do right there at number 14 overall. For my instant reaction to them getting that pick, I'd say go for Miami edge rusher Akeem Mesidor. The dude is a savage. He logged a 92.5 PFF pass rush grade, which is the 6th best among draft-eligible edge defenders. He didn't work out at the combine or anything but he comes in at 6'3", 260 pounds. And here's the 411 on him from Lance Zierlein's draft profile. Mesidor is an instinctive, high-effort edge rusher with a fluid rush style and a deep toolbox. He bursts upfield and can shrink the corner while punishing oversetting tackles with inside counters. He strings moves together with effortless mid-rush adjustments, utilizing harmonious hands and feet to carve efficient tracks into the pocket. He's a problem for guards when reduced inside as well, so he's got the versatility there. His urgency shows up in run defense, where he uses play strength and short area quickness to disrupt blocking schemes and stay around the football.
I went to bed with the Cowboys having traction in inside position of Maxx Crosby. I woke up, and he's a Baltimore Raven.
You went to bed early, though.
I did. Another Raider expected out of Vegas quite soon, Geno Smith. What's the latest on his situation? And actually, other quarterbacks expected to hit the market here soon.
Yeah, Geno Smith will be released at the start of the new league year, and then he will look for a new home. This is sort of a mutual parting. He was going to get released anyways, but Smith wanted somewhere else to go. He didn't like the setup with the Raiders, where he was really going to have to take all the bullets early in the season for Fernando Mendoza to eventually bench him. So he could be in play for the Vikings. He's on their short list of veterans that they're going to look at. Dolphins are also attracted to Geno Smith as well, but they're probably going the Malik Willis route. They'll look at that option. So Geno Smith still has a chance to be a starter somewhere. Didn't play great last year, but he's looking to rebound, so we'll see how that shakes out. Now you got Tua Tagovailoa. He has not been released yet. The Dolphins are playing this coy a little bit. The expectation around the league is that Miami will move on and take on the huge dead cap hit, which could be up to $99 million if they just cut him outright here soon. There's really no trade leverage here, or teams trying to make a move for him. You know, some people around the league I've talked to are looking at a place like Atlanta. Maybe he can go there for a month or two and keep the seat warm for Michael Penix, their young quarterback, until he comes back. So we'll see if Tua finds a home. Not a guarantee. And then you got Kyler Murray. This is probably, I would say, the most attractive option out of these retread quarterbacks on the market. Teams I talked to believe that he will be a starter again. Minnesota certainly on their short list, and some around the league believe he could end up being a Viking if all things go well. But I think he's going to take it slowly. He'll be released on Wednesday, around there. And then he'll sort of, weigh his options. He could even take some visits, I'm told, to some teams. Maybe he wants to go see the Jets in person, or the Vikings. He'll have some options there. And look at this. QB is expected to be released. Those 3 guys we just talked about. We're talking $100+ million in guaranteed cash going to these quarterbacks for not even playing on their old teams.
Oh, my.
So they're paying them to go away. If we could have a deal so sweet, we would just go home and get paid for it. But that's how it is for these guys.
That is truly incredible. And at least for Minnesota, the idea is they just want to bring in some competition. At least that's the company line. They want to bring in competition for J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I would equate it to the Colts last year when they had Anthony Richardson and brought Daniel Jones in. Had a competition. But it was sort of like, if you're seeing other people, it's probably not a good sign.
I'm not one to give relationship advice. That right there is Jeremy Fowler on Sports.